Sunrise burns through the morning, hey. Another coffee to get through the days. Running on empty, a promise I broke till the tired reflection the mirror spoke.
If you've heard of gout, you've definitely heard about the pain. But what if you could actually understand the system behind that pain? What if you could go from just reacting to its attacks to actually being in control? Well, in this explainer, we're going to show you exactly how. Let's dive in. If you've ever had a gout attack, you know this description is putting it mildly. It is an all-out siege on a joint, usually your big toe, and it feels absolutely brutal. I mean, we're talking about a pain so intense it can wake you up from a dead sleep, where even the weight of a single bedsheet feels like a ton of bricks. So, what is really going on here? What's happening inside your body that causes this kind of sudden, violent reaction? I can tell you, it's not just random chance. It's a very specific chain of events, and it all kicks off with a tiny, microscopic villain. Let's find out who it is. Okay, our investigation leads us right here, to what I'm calling the crystal clear culprit. And get this, it's not something you catch. It's something being created inside your own body. It's microscopic, it's incredibly sharp, and it's the direct source of all that misery. Let's zoom way in and see what we're up against. Meet monosodium urate crystals, or MSU crystals for short. Now, I want you to picture this. Imagine tiny, razor-sharp shards of glass forming inside your joints. That is literally what these are. And when they show up, your body's immune system freaks out. It sees them as foreign invaders and launches this massive counterattack. And that whole inflammatory war is what causes the searing pain, the swelling, and the heat of a gout flare. And that immune system response? Well, it produces these classic symptoms. This isn't a slow burn, you know. It is an abrupt, full-blown flare that hits its peak in just a few hours. And yeah, the big toe is the most famous target, for sure. But these crystal attacks can happen in your ankles, your knees, elbows, wrists, you name it. Okay, so we know that crystals are the problem, but where in the world are they coming from? To answer that, we need to go one level deeper and talk about a substance that's in all of our bodies right now, uric acid. The root cause of all of this is a condition called hyperuricemia. Now that sounds like a complicated medical term, right? But it's actually super simple. All it means is that you have too much uric acid floating around in your blood. It's not a disease itself, but it's the thing that sets the stage for those nasty crystals to start forming. So how much is too much? Well, there is a magic number. It's right here, 6.8 milligrams per deciliter. I want you to think of this as a saturation line. Think about dissolving sugar in your tea. You can keep stirring it in and it disappears, right? But eventually, you hit a point where no more sugar will dissolve. It just starts piling up at the bottom. That is exactly what happens in your blood. Below 6.8, uric acid stays dissolved. The second you go above it, your blood is supersaturated, and that uric acid starts crashing out and forming those solid, painful crystals.
So where does all this uric acid even come from? Well, it's a totally natural waste product. Your body is constantly breaking down these compounds called purines that are in our cells and in a lot of foods we eat. The best analogy is to think of a bathtub. The faucet is always on. That's your body making uric acid. The drain, that's your kidneys, filtering it out into your urine. Gout happens when the system gets totally out of whack. Either the faucet is turned on way too high or the drain is clogged out.
So, if it's a bathtub problem, what are the things that are cranking that faucet open or plugging up the drain? Let's take a look at the main triggers that push your whole system into overload. Two of the absolute biggest culprits are fructose and alcohol, and they mess with the system in two completely different ways. Fructose, especially the kind in sugary drinks and high-fructose corn syrup, basically hits the turbo button on uric acid production. It's telling your body, make more, make it faster. Alcohol, on the other hand, is like stuffing a rag in the bathtub drain. It actually stops your kidneys from doing their job properly, so the uric acid that should be leaving just gets reabsorbed back into your blood. And this brings us to diet, of course, which is all about managing those purines. On one side, you have the high-purine foods to limit, things like red meat and certain types of seafood. But on the other side, you've got foods that are not only okay, but can actually be helpful, like coffee and low-fat dairy. But here's the thing. It is not just about what you eat. That's a huge piece of the puzzle for sure. But there's more to it. Your genetics can actually determine how good your kidneys are at clearing uric acid in the first place. Other health conditions like obesity and high blood pressure are also major factors. And believe it or not, even some common medications can contribute, which is a really important conversation to have with your doctor.
Okay, so now that we get the system, how do we manage it? Let's shift gears from the problem to the solution. This is all about building a solid plan to take back control. First, it is absolutely critical to understand that gout is a progressive disease. You might have these long, beautiful, pain-free periods between attacks. That's called the intercritical stage. The real danger here is that it's easy to think the problem has gone away. It has not. During that quiet time, those MSU crystals are still silently building up in your joints, which can lead to permanent damage down the road. This is why long-term management is so important.
The foundation of any good plan starts right here. Staying hydrated is completely non-negotiable. Water is literally what your kidneys use to flush the uric acid out. Managing your weight and staying active help reduce the overall metabolic stress that leads to high uric acid in the first place. These are the cornerstones of your plan. On top of that solid foundation, there are some foods and supplements that have real scientific evidence backing them up. Cherries have powerful anti-inflammatory properties. Vitamin C has been shown to actively help lower uric acid levels. Coffee seems to do double duty. It slows down production and speeds up removal. And low-fat dairy actually helps your kidneys get rid of more uric acid. Okay, a quick but important note on a remedy you see everywhere online: apple cider vinegar. While it might help with some other things associated with gout, like managing weight, the science is crystal clear on this. Right now, there is no direct scientific proof that it actually lowers uric acid or treats gout itself. Finally, let's talk about medication. It's really a two-part strategy. For an acute attack, the goal is just immediate relief. Think of these as the firefighters, meds like ibuprofen that put out the fire. But the long-term strategy is about fire prevention. This involves daily medications like allopurinol that actually lower your uric acid levels to stop fires from even starting.
So what's the big takeaway from all of this? It's simple, really. Knowledge is power. Gout isn't some random curse. It is a logical system of cause and effect. And once you understand that system, you are no longer powerless against it. You're in the driver's seat. You now know about the crystals. You know the tipping point, that magic number 6.8. You know the triggers that overload your system. And you have a clear plan for how to manage it. You have the blueprint for taking control. The only question left is, are you ready to use it? Thanks for joining us.
Oh, the medicine is on your plate. The healing choice you choose to make. It's the wisdom that you learn and keep. A promised planet.